So the president is positive again after just a few days. These rebound infections, are they common?
They're relatively rare, but others, including the chief of the COVID response in the US, Dr. Fauci, have experienced them as well. So just to be clear, this isn't a new infection. Paxlovid, the antiviral that President Biden took, suppressed the viral load, suppressed the virus enough for a couple of days for him to return a number of days of negative tests, but then it came back once he stopped testing and moved on from that course of treatment, and he is still testing positive now, though without any symptoms, which is pretty common for these rebound infections, but not common among the population.
Infections, globally speaking, what are we seeing in terms of restrictions? I mean, we had heard that perhaps Hong Kong could be shortening their inbound quarantine.
Yeah, I mean, there seems to be a lot of foreshadowing, both from the health secretary in Hong Kong and from the new chief executive, that something is coming when it comes to the easing of quarantine. That could be as soon as John Lee's weekly meeting with the press expected for tomorrow. What we're hearing is it could be anything from reducing hotel quarantine from the current 7 days if you test negative to 5, plus a couple of days in home quarantine or even monitoring. The health secretary has flagged that hotel quarantine period could even be reduced, a possibility only, to around 3 days in a hotel, provided they're able to get the China-style tracking app up and going and that people sort of accept that one. So definitely something coming when it comes to quarantine on Hong Kong this week.
We saw data from Japan showing they're now seeing the highest weekly COVID cases anywhere in the world, something like over 1.3 million over the past 7 days going into the end of the month. Has there been any kind of policy reaction? Because we are starting to see some disapproval when it comes to how the government is handling this.
Yeah, I mean, Japan is experiencing the wave that a lot of other places are slowly emerging from. The US, parts of Europe, Australia have seen recently a very big uptick, which is now easing off. It's now Japan's turn. Yes, opinion polls are showing that there is displeasure with the way that Prime Minister Kishida is responding to this. They haven't gone down the route of another state of emergency or any of those curfews that they used during the peak pandemic period, though we are seeing medical states of emergency in some places like Osaka, which basically just girds the hospitals and medical systems for higher cases. Japan, though, has been faring relatively well compared to other countries with a lower death rate. That's probably to do with the fact there is almost near universal masking still and a pretty strong healthcare system.